All right, we have made it to hour number 3 here on a Buffalo Football Monday. Chris Brown, Steve Tasker, and Bills team reporter Maddy Glab joining us here in studio, as she does after every regular season victory, to present the Maddy Awards. Maddy Awards are presented, as always, by Energy Mark, the official energy supplier to the Buffalo Bills. And a lot of energy on that field yesterday, Maddy, to the tune of 34 points.
Oh, yeah, it was good to see our guys back out there getting a victory in week 1, and you gotta highlight the guy who led the way for the Bills, and that is Josh Allen. He is earning our Fighter Award because it wasn't looking good for this offense in the first half. They start off the game, and your first drive of the 2024 season ends in a fumble, but Josh Allen fought back. Josh Allen completed 78% of his passes to give his team a chance. Josh Allen dragged 2 defenders into the end zone and hurdled a guy to give his team a chance to win. The team runs through Josh Allen. We know this. He has the power to take over and turn the game around. We've seen it so many times before, and we saw it again to start the 2024 season. He is a fighter. He won't stop fighting until the clock ticks down to 0.
Yeah. And 4 touchdowns yesterday, 2 passing, 2 rushing, and he's done that 4 times now in his career and tied Hall of Famer Steve Young, the only other guy to do it. Pretty wild.
Yeah. Somebody's only happened 4 times in Josh. It seems like he does that every time he plays Miami. But, yeah, 4 games like that in a career doesn't seem like a lot, but when you – yeah, that's it.
I mean, they were down 14, and then the Bills score on 4 of their next 5 drives. That takes a lot of willpower to do something like that, and Josh Allen being involved in every single one of those touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 2 in the air. The guy can do whatever he wants. Even when the team is down, I think a lot of us know it's going to happen at some point. He's just going to take the ball and take over.
He is now 21-6 against NFC opponents, lifetime. He's won 7 of his last 8 matchups against NFC opponents, and he is also now 18-3 in his last 21 home starts with 57 total touchdowns in his last 21 home starts.
Too shabby.
Yeah. That is ridiculous production.
Then one of the other stories that came out of yesterday's game was this next man up mentality, and we got a chance to see it firsthand.
Next man up is Cam Lewis and Jamarcus Ingram, the DB and the corner. These 2, their names were called before they were thinking their names were going to be called in this game because nickel cornerback Taron Johnson goes out with a forearm injury, does not return to the game, so defensive back Cam Lewis goes in his place. Lewis was getting ready to be the dime package guy in this game. He was not preparing mentally to go in and back up Taron Johnson, but he has to at the drop of a hat and goes in and does his job. It's not easy to play nickel cornerback in the NFL in today's league because you have to defend the pass. You also have to stop the run. Cam Lewis isn't the biggest defender out there, but he was able to stop the pass and the run. So hats off to him. Jamarcus Ingram then steps up because he becomes the dime package guy. He played in 11 snaps on defense in that role yesterday, and Ingram was tested in the 4th quarter. The Cardinals had a chance to win the game on 4th and 7, but Ingram was there to break up a pass. Your name gets called, you answer the call with breaking up a pass. He was deservingly brought into the post-game huddle when the team brought it down. Sean McDermott gave him his kudos. He definitely deserves it, him and Cam Lewis, for stepping up when they maybe weren't expecting to have to step up. They did it in a second at the drop of a hat, drop of a dime, and they were ready to go.
And two UB guys on top of that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. 2 UB guys doing that and coming
2
through in such a
unsung
big
heroes.
way. The other guy, Josh on the offensive side, and then, of course, the guy who carried the load defensively was the Tower of Terror.
I was thinking last night when we were doing our post-game show.
I like it. I was
trying to think of how can I describe what Greg Rousseau did in yesterday's game?
Yeah, I like it.
He is the Tower of Terror. Defensive end Greg Rousseau was the Tower of Terror against the Cardinals yesterday. He stands tall at 6'6", and he had some burst off the line of scrimmage yesterday. He finished the game with 3 sacks, including a strip sack fumble. He was a force to kick off the Bills season. I think that's going to continue throughout the season. Defensive coordinator Bobby Babich told us during training camp that Rousseau wants to be the elite of the elite this season. This is one heck of a way to start things off with the game that he put on display yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, 3 tackles for loss, too. I mean, he was a force in the run front as well. I mean, it wasn't just those 3 sacks. His all-around game was on display. The only thing he didn't do yesterday was bat a pass out of the air, which I was surprised. You got a 5'8" quarterback. I think they only had 1 or 2 batted passes. Daquan Jones had one, and there might have been one other, but I was like, how do they only get 1 of those? But still, good job by the defensive front. Okay, Acrobat Award. I think we can figure this one out by its title, right?
The Acrobat is our wide receiver, Khalil Shakir. He can't be knocked down to the ground. You can try it, but you're going to fail. Yep. He looked like an acrobat in yesterday's game as he contorted his body around to reach the end zone on the touchdown that gave the Bills their first lead of the game. And it wasn't just that touchdown. Shakir had a few catches where he showcased his flexibility and balance. He was hit as he caught some passes, and you could see him keep his feet on the ground, kind of maintain his balance, and move forward for a couple extra yards. I was watching him play yesterday thinking, does this guy have a background in gymnastics? How many years did he train? If so, because it stands out that he's just able to stay up. And you hear our coaches say that all the time during practices. Stay up, stay up, stay up, stay up. He does such a good job of doing that. Josh Allen talked about it in yesterday's press conference. He said Khalil Shakir does such a great job of sinking his hips low, which makes him a lot harder to knock off balance and take down.
Yeah, I think he's got a low center of gravity to begin with. For a guy that's 6 feet tall, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I look at his body type and I'm like,
he's got short legs.
His torso almost looks too long.
Yeah, he's got short legs.
And his legs are short, but his hips are so low to the ground that he can cut on a dime. And even when he gets hit, his contact balance is so good. It's kind of like Thurman back in the day, Steve. Thurman wouldn't get knocked down; he'd just get moved over.
Right, yeah.
And it's kind of like Khalil. Also, he doesn't get knocked over; he gets moved over, and he just keeps going.
Yeah, there's no question. It's a skill, and Shakir has really developed it. He's tough to knock off his feet, and that gives him a lot of yards after the catch because once you can get through that initial contact and keep your feet under you, it's all positive. So that was it. He is.
It's an encouraging sign.
Yes, he's turning into a real asset for this offense. Next award is the Shake It Off Award.
Shake it off. Shake it off. That's what our defense did. Right. Defensive adjustments. They get the award for shaking it off because that's exactly what they did. I mean, Bobby Babich calls his first game as the Bills' defensive coordinator yesterday, and it started off with the Cardinals scoring on their first 3 drives of the game. Yuck. You don't want that. So the Bills were having a tough time stopping the run early and getting pressure on quarterback Kyler Murray. They go into halftime, and Babich and his defense make some adjustments that work in the second half. It works as in this. They allowed 190 total yards in the first half. Second half, just 80 total yards. They started to stop the run, and they started to send pressure and get pressure on Murray, sending extra guys. So kudos to Babich and his staff for their ability to shake it off, make the adjustments that they needed to make, and have those work so the Bills could get a win. That's not an easy thing to do in your first game as a defensive coordinator. You start the game, the plan is not working, so you have to go back to the drawing board and have a few minutes to do so at halftime. They go out there, and it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, Murray only had 31 yards passing in the second half. I mean, he did nothing through the air because they were squeezing the pocket more effectively, and it really kind of bottled him up, and he couldn't get out and run, and he couldn't see anything because the pocket was collapsing on him, and he's so short he couldn't see over the lineman. Smorgasbord. Steve and I like a good smorgasbord. What do you got for us here?
Award? Okay. Joe Brady play calling is earning our Smorgasbord Award. The Bills had a smorgasbord to work with on offense in Week 1. We weren't sure what this offense would look like in Week 1 under new offensive coordinator Joe Brady. And what we got was everybody was involved. It was like a smorgasbord. An appetizer here, an appetizer there, a fun dish here, a palate cleanser there, a little bit of everything to put together a full meal, which goes right along with their mantra this season. Everybody eats. 9 different players caught a pass from Josh Allen. There were also plenty of different personnel groupings that we saw. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel was moving all over the place. They had 2 tight ends in there sometimes. And I think what we can expect this season out of this group is a variety of a little bit of everything, which is going to make life a lot harder on defenses because they're not going to know what to prepare for. Because on any given week, anybody can have a good day.
Some guys who have really got some good resumes here in the NFL, like Dalton Kincaid, who put together a record-setting rookie year as a tight end, Curtis Samuel, who has done some stuff in this league, Dawson Knox. Those guys haven't even been tapped into.
Yeah.
And certainly Keon Coleman, 5 targets, 4 receptions. He had the long one down the sideline, a contested catch, did exactly what they brought him in here to do. But they've got a lot in their tool drawer that they haven't even picked out of yet. Yeah. So I think it speaks volumes about where this offense's upside could be.
Finally, it's the Hats Off Award.
I got to give hats off to our kicker, Tyler Bass. You end the season last year in a really tough way, and it's not all on you, but there was that 44-yard field goal miss at the end of the fourth quarter in the divisional game against the Chiefs, which would have given the Bills a chance to tie that game up. To head into the offseason with that in your mind is super tough, and Tyler Bass did not let that have power over him in yesterday's game. He made a 37-yard field goal and a 39-yard field goal. Yes, you have to make those, but sometimes those are not easy makes. There was wind in yesterday's game as well. He also made all 4 of his extra point attempts. And to go into yesterday's game not having last season hang over your head at all, but having confidence completely wash over you, you go out there, you do your job, and you make every attempt that you had. Hats off to this guy because I hope he has a career season.
Yeah, and both of those field goal attempts were into the wind. They were towards the scoreboard end where the wind was coming from and whipping all day. So hopefully that does wonders for his confidence. He'll be kicking on grass this week down in Miami. Hopefully it's a favorable weather day. I haven't even looked at the forecast.
I honestly haven't either.
I'll have to check that.
I just took it for granted it was going to be a nice evening down there. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Hopefully there's no rain or deluge coming
It's
through.
Miami. How bad is it going to be?
Well, rain for 15 minutes, and as long as it's not a hurricane.
Yeah.
Maddy, thank you for this edition of the Maddy Awards. We hope to see you in a very short period of time delivering another Maddy Awards in less than a week.
Week 2.
Knowing the Bills' next game is on Thursday Night Football.